I grew up in Germantown. It's kind of a regular kind of a neighborhood. Um, I got into music really through like church,
Hmm.
you know, going to church with my mom and singing on the choir.
Were any other family members part of involved in?
Well, we it was a small church that I used to go to, and it was mostly just family there. So
Oh, word.
yeah, so most of the people in the church were family. So like half of the choir was family.
Right.
You know. As I would as I got older and into high school, my dad used to take me with them to jazz clubs in the
Oh, word.
city. Yeah, because he was good friends with uh, one of his good friends owned clubs in Philly, like jazz clubs and
Uh-huh.
stuff. So my pops used to take me there as a kid. In high school, I really I really started to get into songwriting and like thinking of myself having a band one day, In high school, that was a time that really like sparked that I wanted to make music. In high school, I was pretty much into jazz. Like I really wanted to play jazz, sing jazz, write jazz tunes.
What is it about jazz?
Well,
I mean, obviously you know jazz, though, but what is it to you about jazz that like grabbed you like that back then?
the whole improvisational thing, and I was into a lot of scat singing and stuff.
Okay, word.
'Cause all my friends were musicians. I really didn't hang around a lot of like singers. Like after I got to high school, I kind of like started to have like a stigma about like
About other singers?
yeah, because all my friends play instruments,
Right.
So when I would hang around them, I really wanted to play piano. Like I wanted to be like a ill piano player in a jazz band, but I was in the vocal department, and two, my mom she couldn't afford like an axe, like a piano. That's a
Yeah.
big investment. So I pretty much just really got into songwriting by just having a keyboard.
Oh,
I
word.
was still I couldn't practice like that, but I could still like write tunes and stuff. So and then from there, that aspect was one of the things that got me into music and into the jazz thing. And then the second side of it was just because I was around so many musicians and I couldn't like play an axe. I started to like sing like I was,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna just change my voice into an instrument, So like hanging out with those cats and listening to them talk about theory and shit like that, I just started to hear music differently, how they were hearing,
Right.
So I started to get into just scatting a lot. From then on, I went to college
Yeah.
in in New York, and I went there to study jazz voice. When I moved to New York, I started doing some jam sessions with uh, you know the teachers. One of the teachers from my school. I'm trying to remember his name. This is crazy. I can't. Arnie Lawrence. Well, yeah, he got us to do like this gig at this I forget the name of it. I think it was called the Sidewalk Cafe. Like once a week, like we would do like a gig there late at night. But he also had the drummer Aaron Coleman
Okay, word.
playing drums on a gig.
Oh, word.
Yeah, like I don't like I said, I didn't know nothing about the Spin Doctors.
Yeah.
But he was killing like on the drums, and then like he was like, "Hey man, you should come to my house and we
And it's
jam."
like, yeah.
I show up at his house and it's like, "Yo, this guy has mad money," and they're like, "Yeah, he's from the Spin
You're
Doctors,"
like
and
spin
that
doctors.
was my introduction into like, you know, rock music and
Mm.
just that whole songwriter thing. So I started writing tunes at his crib a lot. Like
Right.
after school, after classes, I would go to his house and
Damn.
we just started jamming. So like a lot of the tunes that I did at his house,
At Aaron's house.
at Aaron's house, yeah, I got signed with him
A lot of
with
those are
those
tunes from the
tunes.
album.
Queen of Sanity,
Oh
Love
wow.
Poems,
Okay.
When Will You Call,
Oh word. Damn.
Aaron Coleman's house.
Yeah. So so how did the like how did it
Mm.
evolve into an actual record? And you just writing tunes
Well,
in his house.
what happened was I was being managed by the Mtume brothers,
Mhm.
and the Mtume brothers kind of took the songs that I did with Aaron, and I guess they started like playing them to different people, in the industry or whatever, and that's how I just started meeting people, from them hearing my demo,
Right. Right.
and for a short period of time, I even sang background for D'Angelo,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember it.
and
Yeah.
and all of that like came about through that little demo tape that
Oh,
we
word.
did at Aaron's house. So.
Is that how you met Common as well?
Yep.
Right.
I met Common through. Actually, I met Common through another producer friend of mine named Daoud Darren. And Daoud, he did a tune with me on the album also, All That I Am.
Okay, word. Yeah, yeah,
And he knew Common. So that's how I met Common. And when I met Common, I played him my demo, and then Common introduced me to Erica.
yeah. Oh, word.
So it was like it was crazy, and then everybody used to hang out at the wetlands. So
You just meet everybody there. Like
yeah,
everybody.
at that period in time, it was easy to like once you meet one person, you meet the other person, and everybody was kind of hanging out with each other
I
at that
feel.
time.
Right.
So from there, I met Most Def.
Yeah. Oh,
It's just a
damn.
little community, in Brooklyn back then. So.
Damn. What you you got signed while you were still in school,
Mhm. Yeah.
and was the album released after you were when you by the time you had graduated?
Dude, I got a record deal and dropped out. I just it
you,
was a
you,
lot because school was really demanding.
I'm
Like that,
sure. Yeah.
the
So,
new school was kind of like a conservatory. Like they only back at that time they would only accept like 12 people a year. Like
oh
it
wow, it
was
was
a
like
really
that.
it was a small school. When I got my deal, I started working on my music, and we just wound up being at the studio all the time and started creating that Electric Ladyland.
Is that where you did your album too?
It
Oh,
was
okay, word.
and it was right down the street from my school. So I remember going in there. That was around the same time that D'Angelo was recording
Who was?
his record too.
Oh
So
shit, that's crazy.
that was a cool time, man. Now
Damn.
that I think about it.
I
That album has a variety of things, and what happened was I had a demo of the music we were talking about with
yeah.
Aaron, and then when I met with Amir and them, we did some tunes, and then I had kind of had a wish list of people, and it was weird because I met them all, before I even did the album. So I think it was in my head. I was just trying to make music that could go in a lot of different directions, played live.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know, because I think of myself as like a cat that likes to perform. I really like to perform and play. So I was just trying to make tunes that we could recreate live and make a dope live show out of. After the album came out, we
2001. Right?
yeah we toured. and just started playing. And what started happening on the road was the music started to morph, into kind of like jazz fusion rock type of funk because
Right.
we just started letting the guitar. I would at some point just stop singing and let the band go. When I touched back down from touring, I moved to New Jersey and I started writing a lot of tunes.
Right.
And what we did was we got in the studio at Electric Lady and laid a lot of the stuff down. I toured the songs to the band, and that a lot of that stuff was really just live, like how we would how how we would play out, in
Yeah.
a show.
It was
Like I
my
think
yeah. It was
that's
like a
how
reflection of life.
we recorded a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what kind of started me on the Love for Sale project.
Right. And it just kept going from there.
Well, the Love for Sale project was kind of I didn't get a good reception from Interscope. Like,
Yeah, that's a famous story. Whatever.
yeah, I didn't really get a good reception from them. Although I had other tunes, I had some tunes that they liked and some tunes they didn't like. And,
That shit's ridiculous.
um,
Was it a situation that you were showing them music as it was progressing, or they heard like
yeah,
towards the end?
I was showing the music as it was progressing. What happened? I convinced the uh, the cast from the production company, the Moyo brothers,
Mm-hmm.
to let me have Electric Lady alone and just do tunes. And I did like a lot of those tunes, like Be Cool, um,
Right.
White Turns to Gray, freaking Make Me Over.
Right.
We recorded them in that studio, and just while we're recording them, the cat showed up and was like, "What the hell is this shit? It sound like
Who from the brothers or from the label?
the brothers. Like this sound like some crazy ass like blues record." And at that time, I was listening to because we were on the road. We on the road we got all smashed out on Frank Zappa,
Oh, right.
and by that era we were like smashed out on Frank Zappa, Jimi Hendrix, Return to Forever,
Damn.
you know.
Damn. You like, yeah.
So we were like meshing,
You
Return to
you
Forever,
turn.
and Headhunters with Frank Zappa and like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf records,
Yeah.
And when they walked in, it was just like, what the hell? This isn't R&B. This is like, this is dark evil music. It's like this is the evilest shit I've ever heard. Like,
Evil.
yeah, it's just very dark. And so at that point, I was trying to make a concept record, like, cause I was strung out on Ziggy Stardust and just.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want to do a concept record. And they just weren't feeling it. And they were like, no one's going to feel this. As a matter of fact, go play it for Jimmy Iovine. And I played for Jimmy Iovine, and
What's he talking
he got some of it, but he didn't get it either. But he played it for Dre, and Dre liked it.
about? Right.
But then Dre wanted me to sign with him. It was just, the politics kind of took over the project, and then the next thing I know it was bootleg. And then the label came back, like,
Like since it's bootleg.
might as well go start on some new tunes. And I was like, huh? This is weird.
Yeah. What was I guess just what was the reaction like? What was the situation like when you someone hits you up like, yo man, your album's out there.
I was tight, man. It was like it was like, yo, your girl just had a miscarriage. It felt like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, huh? Well, You know, I kind of felt like that for a while, just like,
And then
I don't know how to feel.
when you started hearing people's response to the album, like what, like not people around you that might have already heard it, but just
It was cool. I remember the first response we had. I had a gig in Chicago, or was it L.A.? I don't remember, but I know the motherfuckers in the audience was holding up their iPods like,
for real.
yo, that's my shit, singing along
Yeah.
to the songs they like, and because my whole thing was, oh well, shit got bootleg, you might as well start playing this shit live. And then when we started playing it live, motherfuckers was like, yeah, that's my song. And I'm like,
How you have it?
I didn't know how to respond. And for a minute, it's mostly I was just happy, like, man, I knew these cats would like it. But then it was like, man, this shit should have came out. Like, damn.
Yeah, like it must
It
have
gave
been.
me a good underground buzz, though. And thank God, a lot of people get stomped out. They lose their deal and they're just stomped out. And nobody really,
Yeah, like
it's over, kind of, it kind of, it saved my life.